In this presentation, I will be talking about our improvisation techniques module. I will be talking about what we covered in lectures, what genres we explored, and leading up to and the day of the assessment. I will also be talking about my experience and how I felt this year had gone for me. I will talk about what songs I liked and didn't like, and how I felt about the whole improvising aspect of this module. Going into this module, I was definitely worried about the whole part of improvising, as I hadn't done it much before, but I was excited to learn about what I could do to make it easier for me and explore the artists that were experts at it. When I first thought about what improvisation was, I thought it was just making it up on the spot, which worried me because I like to know what I am going to do, but I quickly learned that it's not all about making it up there and then. As we went on to learn throughout the lectures each week that I needed to plan ahead, even if it was only 10 minutes before we tried the song. The things I had to think about was rhythm, harmony, and the melody of the song. Each week we would be shown a presentation by our lecturer Simon, and then we were put into different bands each week so we could all have the chance to work with each other and then try out different songs that we were given. At the end of all of the lectures, we would then all come back together and perform to the class what we had been working on. The first week, we looked at what improvising was, and then we got to try some songs out that we could improvise on. The songs we went through on the first week were The Chicken by Maceo Parker and Breezin' by George Benson. Our lecturer Simon gave the singers some advice, as a lot of us had never improvised on songs before and was completely new to it. His advice was to take the melody line and mix it up, and pick up little bits of the melody and put it with our own creations. The next week we looked at call and response. This week was most beneficial to me, as our lecturer Simon showed us that we could improvise with the guitar or bass and feed off licks with each other. This was the easiest way for me to improvise because we could both take little parts of each other's ideas and make them our own. In this lecture, we were given some scales to look at and to try and make up a melody within the song. The scale we were given was A minor. We then got in a circle and using that scale took in turns and did a little improvising each. We then went off into groups again and tried out some new songs. The songs we tried this week were Take 5, the Al Jarreau version, On Broadway by George Benson, and Alidea de Ogam by Joyce. For the third week, we went on to learn about the 12-bar blues. We had a chat about the blues scale and then went on to watch some examples of blues improvisers like B.B. King, Morse Allison, and Jimmy Witherspoon with Robin Ford. We then looked at harmonising with the blues scale and all different types of modes. The songs for us to look at this week were Look a Pie Pie by the Meters, Come With Me by Tanya Maria, and Do Dat Dare by Ricky Lee Jones. Our last week of having a presentation was on soul jazz. We looked at the soul jazz artists that were known for their improvisational techniques. This became my favourite week, as I had never heard of this genre before, and soul is one of my favourite genres. We looked at different artists like Ray Charles, Donny Hathaway, Lonnie Liston Smith, Roy Ayers, and Reuben Wilson. The songs that we tried this week were Golden by Jill Scott, and On by Erykah Badu. Throughout this module, we added a couple of songs to the list once we had gone through all the songs we were given. One of the songs my band chose was Ain't Nobody by Shaka Khan. However, the original of this song didn't fit the criteria, so we changed it to a Latin feel and took inspiration from a version we found on YouTube, which was by Alex Wilson. After we covered everything that had to be covered, we then went on to prepare for our assessment. For the assessment, we had to pick 4 songs in total. 2 out of the 4 songs we had to choose were ones we wanted to be assessed on and improvise on. And then the other 2 were to show that we could support the band. The songs I chose to be assessed on were Ain't Nobody and Aldeia de Ogam. The 2 songs I picked for me to support on were Golden and On. Once we had all the songs in place, it was then on to preparing for the assessment. I went away and made sure I knew what I was doing, especially for the songs that I was getting assessed on. Aldeia de Ogam was the song I was most worried about, but chose it because I felt like it would be a challenge and wasn't like a song I'd sung before. The songs I was singing backing on were straightforward. However, we had so many singers on the course, and there were only 3 songs that we could all support on, so we had to split the song up. The vocals on the songs I was singing backing weren't hard, so they were easy to prepare for. The hardest part of preparing for the songs was figuring out what I was going to do for my improvisational parts. For Ain't Nobody, I took inspiration from the original and played with the melody lines. For Aldeia de Ogam, it was a little harder, as the whole song for me was improvised, because some of the parts I couldn't do the same as the original singer, so I did my own thing. On the day of the assessment, we had a 4-hour rehearsal and made sure that all the songs were assessment ready. Ain't Nobody had been finished for a couple of weeks, so it was just a case of going over it again and again. With Aldeia de Ogam, it was all about communication, which we carried out well every time we ran through it. The assessment itself went well, and I was very pleased with it. The assessment was held at Cafe Jazz in Cardiff, which was a nice experience for everyone. All 4 of the songs went really well, and there were only minor mistakes made, but we made sure that communication was kept throughout all the songs. I am happy with my performance overall in this module. I feel like I have come a long way and have built a lot of confidence over the weeks on my improvisational skills. However, I feel like I could still gain a lot more confidence and more practicing in improvising until it comes naturally to me. I would also like to listen to a lot more improvisational artists and take a little bit from everyone I watch.